When I first heard about Gotham Knights, I was super excited about the game. Batman is dead and it's up to you, the 4 Gotham Knights, to save Gotham from the Court of Owls.
But it's a shit game.
Wait a second.
Graphics are shit, the Batpod is shit, the frame rate is shit, it's so unplayable.
Have you even played the game?
Well, you don't have to play it to know it's a shit game.
Stop jumping on the trend, because everyone on the internet hasn't played the game and they keep slaughtering it and they haven't even played it.
The internet knows.
Don't come back.
Can I come back for dinner?
Get out.
No, okay.
Gotham Knights had the most bizarre launches to a video game that was heavily anticipated. I was so excited to play the game because after the Arkham games, I couldn't wait to dive back into Gotham City in a different way in a new game. And if you're someone who's not sure about the game and didn't end up buying it because of the absolute hate that was coming from the internet, I'm going to share with you a spoiler-free review because I've played the game for over 35 hours and I'm going to be waiting for those keyboard warriors and let me know that...
How can you defend this game?
You are a liar, actress.
The story is probably one of the strongest points about Gotham Knights, and it opens up in the most exciting way, showing Batman and Ra's al Ghul fighting to the death. It's probably the most exciting opening scenes I have seen in a Batman game ever. Batman dies and it's up to you 4 heroes to take responsibility with the help of Alfred, of course. The depiction of Alfred in this game is absolutely perfect. Throughout early in the game, you start missions that introduce you to characters like Harley Quinn, Mr. Freeze, Clayface, which gets the story moving. You soon realize the Court of Owls is actually real and they have been controlling Gotham for years upon years. Throughout the game, the story kept me on edge and I was fully invested in every part of the story. There are a few twists in the game and now that I look back, yeah, they're kind of predictable, but it doesn't take away anything from the story. As you know, there are 4 playable characters in the game, and let me just say, they all feel so different when you're playing with each of them. Batgirl feels the closest to Batman with her incredible one-to-one combat, her quick combos, and adrenaline abilities. Being Oracle, a computer geek behind the scenes where she couldn't walk, her skill trees will reflect her strongest assets. She has the classic bat wings when she is gliding through the city, and if you want the closest thing to Batman, she will be the character to go for. You have Robin, who relies heavily on stealth with his quick, quiet takedowns, especially on heavy brutes. Once you unlock that skill, that can be so damn helpful. If you want to be more of a stealth player, he will be the best one to use with abilities that reduce how much noise he makes to the classic Vantage takedown, where you can hang enemies just like the Arkham games. His transversal was a little bit weird because he basically teleports. I haven't used it that much, so I can't really say I've given it a chance. You had to move this cursor. It kind of stopped the flow of the gameplay. You have Red Hood, who is an absolute tank, and I've actually played the least with him, only because I'm enjoying the other characters. He's probably the most unique from the other 3 as he has non-lethal round guns, which I must say feel like John Wick style. His abilities reflect his brawler personality, like when he throws an enemy, he can attach a concussive mine to it and it will affect the surrounding enemies. I want to dive more into Jason because he is totally different from any of the other characters. And from being revived from the Lazarus pit, he can basically bounce across the city. I haven't actually tried it because I haven't used him that much, but I've heard from other people online that it does feel quite fun to use his ability. Nightwing is my absolute favorite and I've been playing with him the most at the moment, especially with his acrobatic skills and his screamer sticks, which are so damn cool.
Hey up.
Officer down! Repeat! Heads up!
Which you can upgrade and use against enemies depending on what their weaknesses are. His transversal is my favorite, which he has the flying trapeze, which is very easy to get used to and a lot of fun as you can lean backwards and forwards to gain or lose some height depending on what you need to do. Mate, talking's making me tired. And if you want, you can buy me a coffee.
Get on with the video.
Okay. Gameplay and combat. Now, the reason for the massive suspense is before this game came out and we saw some of the gameplay, it looked a little bit slow and I wasn't too sold on the combat. I was like, wow, there is a drastic difference from Arkham games. You know what? I absolutely love the combat. I know. Shut up. Could have been so easy for them to try and copy that, but I'm so glad they went this route. Rather than button mashing with the Arkham games and using the parry button, you have the square button to light attack and then holding square will be your heavy attack. And the difference with this game is circle is your dodge attack. And with every enemy being so different, you have to think about what sort of strategy are you going to use. The triangle button is your ranged attack, and if you hold your triangle button, it is your heavy ranged attack, because some enemies you won't be able to just beat the shit out of them. And when you build up enough momentum, you can hold R1 and press any of the 4 buttons and you will use some insane abilities to make some crazy combos.
Predictable.
Bring it on!
Once you get used to the buttons, the combat is so much fun. It's so enjoyable when you start to use the dodge button. Now, when I heard there was no jump button in the game, I was super surprised. I was like, really? Really? With the use of the dodge button, you are jumping quite a lot over enemies and away from enemies. I thought it would feel very, very weird without a jump button. It really doesn't, because you either climb up ledges using X and forward, or you grapple, and in combat you don't need to jump because your dodge button is your jump button. It really, really works. Be sure to let me know, what do you think? It's okay for you to disagree, but I would love to hear your thoughts, whoever's played the game. Early on in the game, you do not have access to your character's transversal, which can be so annoying. You have to complete 10 premeditated crimes and you have to complete the training exercises. I was grappling through the city, and as I jumped over, I had to just drop or grapple onto something else, which felt so unnatural. But what it did do, it made me use all the characters and experience them in order to unlock that, because I wanted to unlock them at the same time. It forced me to choose different characters, which then I was like, you know what? I'm actually enjoying playing as Robin. You know what? Red Hood's quite cool. I do praise the game in that front. It just felt a bit annoying from the start knowing that I didn't have it. When you're grappling, you have to make sure that you see the icon on the building, because sometimes I just clicked grapple and it would go into a completely different direction and it got a bit frustrating. What I did do was I didn't grapple onto something until I saw the icon on the building, which made it a lot easier. I'm gonna actually grapple to that instead of just pressing it and it goes like all the way to the left.
Damn, these things are fast.
The Batcycle, where people said it felt like you were traveling at a snail's pace. I am really enjoying the Batcycle. Yes, it doesn't feel like you're going 100 miles an hour, and you can notice it when you are driving. The handling is really good. I love the sound of it, but when you are driving, you passing cars, it doesn't look like it's going that quick. Probably down to the frame rate issues or things popping in and out. And that is another issue that I haven't really experienced. I played this game after a couple of patches came in. I've only noticed one incident where I'm driving on the bridge and all of a sudden a car just appears out of nowhere. And that's another thing Games Montreal have been doing really well, is bringing out patches. Early on in the game, Batgirl and Robin, they had cloaks on, and when I was on the bike, they wouldn't flow with the wind and they would just stay static. It was so annoying, and I was thinking, you know what, this is going to be patched in probably a year later. They've already patched it in, and I was like, wow, they've done that already, and it looks so much better when you're on the bike and you can actually see their cloak going with the wind. It's just so much more immersive. Kudos to them. If this was Ubisoft, you know we'll be waiting at least a flipping year for that. What else I love about the Bat Pod, which we'll just call it that, is the little race challenges you have in the city. They're so much fun. Right?
Doing it the Nightwing way.
You just have to make sure that you complete the crimes in that area, because then it won't activate. Where I was like, what's going on? Why is it not working? Now, the main missions, they're broken up into the Belfry Tower, where you have to activate them or launch them. Or sometimes in the open world, you have to go to an area and then activate the main mission from there. Most of the main missions are incredible. I love them, especially when you are entering these amazing buildings such as the Masquerade missions. The architecture, the paintings, the environment, it was so beautiful. And this is where the game really shines. I just wish there was more of it. It really felt like a Batman game when you were going into these buildings and you're using your detective work. It was incredible. There was always bonuses if you took down enemies silently or you used 4 heavy attacks, and that really made you change the way you play and not just always just go in and take out an area, because I wanted to get those extra resources and bonus points, using your AR to scan and solving the puzzles.
This is the courthouse. Now what next? Makes sense. Different types of power in the city. The court would want to control that.
I just wish there was more of it. A lot of people said about the open world is that it was bland, bleak, there wasn't much to it. The open world does feel a little bit empty. It feels like there could be more details and more variety in the game. Even though there are civilians in the game, sometimes they would just repeat the same thing over and over again.
You know what you're doing, Batgirl.
Is that Batgirl? Oh, Nightwing. You would kind of see them just saying the same thing over and over. And sometimes when I'm fighting, all of a sudden civilians will be simultaneously fall over and then they'll run away into a building which you can't go in and they just disappear.
It's nothing.
Those people are a menace! I think you should move along. My backup will be here any minute.
I expected it a little bit more. I give it to them because they're patching in things very, very quickly. There are lots of little collectibles and stuff to do in the city, which I love to do. I love those aspects of an open world RPG. Now, side missions. There aren't as many as I thought there would be. I thought there would be more villains in the game. I just thought they showed us a few. You get your Mr. Freeze, Clayface, Harley Quinn. You've got Penguin as well, who's... yeah, he's more like an ally. These side missions, I absolutely loved, and I just wish there was more of it. Some of the missions you go to at points in the city, or sometimes when you're at the Belfry, you have to activate that mission and then it goes straight into the mission. I just wish there was more of a storyline to these side characters because they are quite short, but there's a lot of replayability of this because certain characters will act differently to each hero.
If it isn't Brat Girl. You here for a chat? Just as girls.
Some of them they have met before and some they haven't, so the dialogue does change. They are done so well, especially Harley Quinn with that damn balloon.
Gibby.
In Gotham, you have premeditated crimes that you have to complete to gather clues and unlock upgrades, and of course unlock your transversal abilities with each character. If you do die, you will lose that crime and you'll have to redo it the next night you go into. Best advice that I heard on the internet was when you're trying to do these 10 premeditated crimes, make sure you stick it on easy, because if you don't, it can get very, very hard, and sometimes there's only like 8 or 9 premeditated crimes in one night. Sometimes I was 2 away from hitting my 10 and then I would die, and then I'd have to go and do the night all over again.
I can do this on hard. Yeah. Oh, I have to wait.
You get the triangle icons during the night to stop a crime from happening, and what you can do is scan your targets, and the one with the question mark over your head, you want to leave him last so you can interrogate him. And that information you gather are used for premeditated crimes the next night. The crimes are pretty much repetitive, the ones in the city, but I don't mind that. It feels like a little bit of a Ubisoft game. If you like that sort of game where you're replaying kind of the same sort of side missions, I like it because it made me get better at the combat. It made me use different styles and obviously build XP so I can get more upgrades. At least there isn't any microtransactions in the game. Another major positive to this game is the enemies. There is so much variety. They have different fighting styles. You can't just rinse and repeat, pressing square, triangle. Some of them are so difficult that you have to really think about, oh my god, how am I going to actually do this? You have the Freaks, the Court of Owls, the League of Shadows, the GCPD, because some of them will shoot you if you do not flee quick enough, and the Mob. Don't think I missed any out. They each have their own abilities, such as some will dodge your attacks, which can be so frustrating, so you have to use your ranged attack to knock them down, like the Court of Owls. Some will have tech attached to them, which then they will have these drones that are firing at you, so you have to be on your toes and change your approach. They are also weak and resistant to certain elements, so depending on what upgrades you're using on your screamer sticks, your staff, your gun, I need to change what I'm using because they are just not dying or they're taking so long. That's the one thing I didn't do. I didn't really focus on what are their weaknesses. See, I was struggling so much to defeat these gang of enemies, and I was just getting absolutely plastered until I realized, oh, that's not their weak point. Let me change that. And when I did change that, it became so much easier. When it comes to customization in the game, oh my
Diddy con gosh.
the different suits you get in the game are unreal. And yes, you have to unlock certain suits by progressing the game. There is so much variety. You can customize the logo, the gloves, the boots. You can unlock different colors, and it feels so personal to what you want. What I love is when you go to the belfry and I go to the back with all 4 suits are there, and I'm just like, wow, I picked some amazing suits.
Of course.
Can get a bit confusing when it comes to crafting in the game, because all of a sudden I've got so many materials and it says customize this, and it has different kind of elements and abilities, so I'm not really sure what I'm doing. As I went along, I sort of understood that the higher level you become, then you unlock new suits to craft along with your screamer sticks for Nightwing or your non-lethal rounds for Red Hood, etc, etc. Which brings me over to the upgrade system.
Jesus.
You have 4 skill trees in each character, which is easy to understand. And based off your playstyle, you can choose where to spend these ability points. You won't be able to unlock the knighthood until you've done the premeditated crimes and the training, but once you do, then you can spend your skill points on there as well. So for Nightwing, you can focus on either putting your skill points into momentum abilities or his acrobatic skills so he can evade. With Red Hood, you can focus on increasing his marksman abilities so that each round he shoots has the chance to deal more damage, or his brawler abilities so that when he throws an enemy, it causes a concussion mine that will explode when shot. Batcycle can focus on her oracle abilities so that she can hack security systems, which is very useful with some of the side quests. Or you can focus on her justice abilities where, oh my gosh, it's so satisfying when you are just beating the shit out of these enemies at such force. It is by far probably one of my favorite momentum abilities. Robin, as I said, is more of a stealth character, so you can put all of your abilities in his shadow tree, where he can perform quiet takedowns on larger enemies and also making him harder to spot. That part is easy until you get to the mods. This was by far the most confusing aspect of the game. So you get these mod chips. There's different rarity levels. So you've got uncommon, common, rare, and epic, I believe, and legend. So is there 5? I can't remember. But you can fuse 4 mod chips to create a new mod chip, which you can then attach to either your suit or your weapon, and it can create benefits and effects to become more effective in combat. I did hear online that you should wait till you get to level 30 to speak to Lucius Fox, because one of the tasks was to fuse 4 mod chips. You don't get the full rewards from him until you're level 30. I'm still getting to grips of that part of the game.
You need to try harder.
Listen, you're dead!
Cheap shot.
Gotham Knights is a game I've put over 30 hours in the game, and I was very skeptical about buying the game when I heard all of those negative reviews online. I am so glad I bought the game and tried out the game for myself. I love the story, the characters, the abilities you get in the game, and most importantly, I love the missions. And when you do get used to the combat, I found it super fun and addictive. Yes, the open world can feel a bit bland and a little bit repetitive with some of the little crimes that you have to do, but I was left craving more of it. If you're looking for a AAA next-gen game, no, you won't get it with this game. You have to remember, this is the first sort of title from Games Montreal. Yes, they made Arkham Origins, which I haven't played, but this is very different. There was always going to be pressure whoever created this game. And if you do not like the RPG element in some sort of games like Assassin's Creed, yeah, you might not enjoy this game. Think of it as a Ubisoft game. There's no endless grind. There's no microtransactions in the game. Just because it doesn't look next gen. I'm a 92 baby, so I've come from playing games like the Nintendo 64, PS1. So I'm okay with some of the games not looking, oh my God, they have to look next gen. I do feel like some people, we've become very spoiled as gamers, thinking something doesn't look a certain way, or oh, this is not next gen, this is so rubbish. I feel like I do enjoy these games, and Gotham Knights is one of them. I love the art direction that they went with this game. I would give this game a solid 7.5 out of 10, only because I enjoyed it, and there's so much replayability that I can't wait to dive back in with the different characters. Now, what did you think of the game? Did you play the game? I want to know your thoughts. Did you like the game? Didn't you like the game? Comment below and let me know. Just don't bully me for liking a game. So let's take a look at the comment of the day from my previous video, 10 things you need to know about God of War Ragnarok. Shout out to Curtis. You have a lot of the wolves' name mixed up. The giant wolf is someone else, and so are the wolves pulling the sleigh. Tomorrow we know all the names though. Can't wait. I was a little bit confused of the game, but I've already started playing the game. I started playing it last night as of the recording of this video, and it is simply breathtaking. Not only that, I've wasted money on the physical version of the disc as well as the collector's edition, so let's quickly open it. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I'm not sure if you can hear me on it. Or what we're gonna... Oh my... Here it is. Oh my gosh. This looks incredible. Just take a look at this. So now basically, this is all money well spent.
If you need money, just let me know.
That would help out so much. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I'm not even real.